Madam Speaker, I rise in support of the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, known as the SAVE Act, introduced by my colleague, Representative Chip Roy of Texas. As chairman of the Committee on House Administration, I've been focused on improving election integrity and increasing confidence in our elections. In recent years, we've seen an increase in the number of jurisdictions across the country that allow non-citizens to vote in their elections. Right here in our nation's capital, non-citizens are eligible to vote in municipal elections. In Washington, D.C., a non-citizen only has to reside in the district for 30 days in order to vote. Last month, 143 Democrats voted to approve non-citizen voting in our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. We cannot allow this to spread across the United States. Let me be clear, non-citizen voting reduces confidence in our elections. American elections are for American citizens, and we intend to keep it that way. Today, we consider the SAVE Act, and we will see if my Democratic colleagues are once again in support of non-citizen voting. The SAVE Act will strengthen our election administration and restore Americans' confidence in our elections. The SAVE Act contains critical reforms to update the National Voter Registration Act, an act that requires states to give voter registration forms to everyone who receives a driver's license, regardless of citizenship status. The bill before us will help states prevent non-citizen voting from voting in federal elections by requiring states to obtain documentary proof of U.S. citizenship and identify in person when registering an individual to vote in federal elections. You're sure to hear my colleagues today on the other side say that non-citizen voting doesn't exist, or that it rarely happens so we don't need to do anything about it. First, I'd point you to a 1996 congressional race in California, where an investigation by this body revealed that 624 non-citizens voted in that congressional election. I'd also point you to a race less than 4 years ago, where our colleague from Iowa won by 6 votes. Every illegal vote cancels out the vote of a legal American citizen. Illegal voting risks swaying elections. Ensuring our laws are being enforced to prevent non-citizen voting is critical. Some will say that illegal voting is already illegal for non-citizens, but it's also illegal to evade the Border Patrol and enter our country illegally. But that hasn't stopped almost anyone. In the last 3 years, the Border Patrol has encountered 7 million illegal migrants at our southern border. We must strengthen our election laws to make sure that they're being properly enforced. On top of the previously mentioned examples of non-citizen voting, we've also seen examples of non-citizens on the voter rolls in different states across our country. Just a few years ago, Illinois removed almost 600 non-citizens from its voter rolls. A Georgia audit recently determined that more than 1,600 non-citizens had attempted to register. And in Pennsylvania, almost 10,000 non-citizens were removed from their rolls. Every state needs access to the tools necessary to remove non-citizens from their voter rolls. A crucial element of the SAVE Act would provide states with cost-free access to existing federal and state databases so they can perform this important list maintenance. Today, we see the Biden administration has weaponized our border, and they're weaponizing federal agencies to conduct a partisan voter registration scheme using taxpayer dollars under an executive order. I've subpoenaed each agency's strategic plan, yet so far, no agency has produced their strategic, secretive scheme to get out the vote, and the left continues to register folks to vote. By passing the SAVE Act, we can ensure only eligible Americans are registering to vote. Americans deserve confidence in their elections. We must pass the SAVE Act to prevent non-citizens from voting. I reserve.